DJ King Freeman. That was Revolution by Karma. That was a sister. I knew that sister since I was like 15 or 16. And she was like, you need to come out of retirement. Because for those who don't know, your girl, Dr. Maat, before she was a professor, an educator, I used to rap. I love rapping. I'm a hip hop head. I'm telling you, I'm a hip hop head to the core. And anybody that knows me knows that I love hip hop music. Hip hop music taught me a whole lot growing up. It actually did. And I grew up in what I consider the golden age of hip hop, right? The 80s and the 90s. That was the golden age of hip hop. And that was the era, that I grew up in, the early 80s and throughout the 90s. And so hip hop taught me a lot. And matter of fact, I got introduced to the teachings of Clarence X, right? The 5% of teachings through hip hop music by listening to groups like, Brand Nubian and them, you know what I mean? Like shout out to Lord Jamal. And so, I got introduced to the teachings of Clarence X, or they say Father Allah, through hip hop music. I got introduced to our history, through music. And so I'm a hip hop head to the core. So every time that I'm coming on live, I like to play either hip hop song or a neo soul song or jazz song. But anyway, shout out to the Maadian family in the building. I see you. I see the Queen Mother, Virgo Venom, is in the building. Peace to your Queen Mother. I see my brother Zane. He's in the building. Peace and love to you. Peace and love to you, brother Zane. I also see Sister Patrice is in the building. She says, peace to the family. I see Taylor Bass is in the building, says, peace to the fam. Peace to all. Let me see, what did the sisters say? Yeah, good to see you here. Ashe. I see Norma X says, peace and liberation to the Black people around the planet. Ashe says, what our people in Mali did show us is that fighting anti-Blackness is worth it. Ashe. Peace and love to you, warrior. I see the sister Danielle Williams is in the building. She says, peace, Dr. Maat, and everyone. She said, was just catching up on the insightful Palestine video you had. She said, then I saw you live on an important topic. Absolutely. And it's a topic that Sister Danielle family is talking about is like battling anti-African and anti-science folks, because we're inundated with it day in and day out, especially if you're on social media. You see the misinformation, you see the disinformation, you see even the malinformation on social media. And it's at a point, man, where we're getting inundated with it. It's like soon, like you're rolling. I'm looking at the feed sometimes. People are posting pictures of places that aren't really the places. They're showing Lewis Latimer, and it's really not Lewis Latimer. And say, like, it's so much misinformation because a lot of times people don't fact check things before they repost them. People just kind of see something, they agree with it, or it makes them feel good, and they say, okay, let me repost this. Not understanding that what they're posting could be misinformation or disinformation if you're doing it intentionally. But if you're doing it unintentionally, then it's misinformation, right? And people, we got to be cognizant of that. Even though we're in social media, and some people say, oh, it's just social media, it's just virtual space. It's not real. It's still a space where you're engaging with people. And so, we have a social responsibility, right, to at least make sure that we fact check things before we share them. Could you drop an ashe in the chat if you understand what I'm saying to your family? Can you drop an ashe in the chat if you see what I'm saying to your family, if you understand what I'm saying? Namas X says, same here, been a Ron DMC binge. Yes, Ron DMC. Man, I was just watching Crush Groove with my son probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We were watching Crush Groove, and I was just pumped up. Crush Groove, y'all, groove, y'all. I mean, groove, y'all. My son looking at me like, he's looking at me like, what are you doing? So I'm definitely a Ron DMC fan. Love Ron DMC. Curtis Blow, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, LL Cool J, the Fat Boys, love them. I mean, that's the era I grew up in. You know what I mean? That's my era. Uhuru to Baba Gregory. Peace and love to you. Uhuru Sasa, race first. I see you. I see you. Zane said the anti-science and anti-African groups are yes, absolutely, that they're conjoined. Absolutely. So family, there is a group, there's a group, an organization, a group of brothers that I really hold in high regard. Shout out to the Adjustment Syndicate. These brothers, family, when I tell you these brothers, they really remind me, and maybe I took to them so much because they remind me of the Arm and Raw Squad. They remind me of Pseudo Killers, because when I tell you they're on deck, they're right here in the community fighting pseudoisms in our community, battling anti-African groups, battling anti-science groups in our community. And I got a lot of love for these brothers, because that takes courage, it takes time, it takes energy, right? To do the things that they're doing, to research and to discuss the topics. It also takes intellect, right? Critical thinking skills, problem solving skills. And so I reached out to these brothers and I said, you know what? I would love for you all to come on to my platform to help me talk about, do you feel like battling anti-African groups or anti-science groups? Do you feel like it's a waste of time? So I wanted them to come online to help me unpack this. And again, I hold these brothers in very high regard. So without further ado, I bring to you the Adjustment Syndicate. I see Suiton is in the building, Port City. I see you. Mo Fax, where you at, Mo Fax? You got to cut your camera on. Peace and love to you, Mo Fax. Peace and love to you, brothers. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. How are you?
All right, not bad. Thank you for having us on the show. We appreciate it.
Okay, as soon as you got on the show, a troll came in. I just blocked them. As soon as y'all came in, FBI agent, like, what are y'all talking about? FBI, like, now y'all are FBI agents, huh? Y'all the feds now, huh?
Yeah, we've been that.
Y'all been okay. So y'all, you saying that that accusation is nothing new, yeah. I'm
We're
like, soon as
agents of truth. We're
yeah,
agents of truth.
Agents of truth. Ashe, agents of truth. Soon as y'all came in, somebody came in, chief. Somebody named Chief something came in and said federal agent, federal agent, federal agent. Like, goodness gracious. And you know what's funny to me? They're so quick. When we go against the pseudoisms, right? The misinformation and disinformation, oh, you're working with them peoples. No, you're working with those peoples, right? Because what you're doing is anti in the interest of us. Like, what you're doing is harming us. It's not helping us, it's harming us. So who really is the agent? And they're quick to do that. They use that a lot. I've noticed that within this social media space or conscious circles or whatever circles, people throw that label on you when you don't agree with them and when you're battling their stuff, and that's a red flag for me, because they always say when someone is the guilty party is always the accuser. So you a fraud, and it's like, then you turn around and that person's really the fraud. You agent, and then you turn around and then you find out that person was really the agent. You know what I mean? And so I always have found that the guilty party is always the accuser. And you all are catching a lot of hate online, huh? Tell me about some of that hate that you all are catching online for what you're doing.
Well, you hit the nail right on the head. We've been called agents. Just all types of crazy stuff, man. They don't read books, so they don't have a lot of arguments. So what happens, we get these guys in a corner and then the name calling. They talk about students headline or something like that. They call me Pork Chop City. Like they just get the name calling, man. I think when they run out of information.
Absolutely. Brother Ankh used to say, you ran out of intellectual bullets and you dropped your gun. That's what he used to say when people start name calling. He said, you ran out of intellectual bullets and you just dropped your gun, right? So people will resort, like you said, to resort to like name calling, and they say ad hominems, right? Like, trying to and I've been through this, and that's why I'm sitting back. I used to get mad and want to fight folks. And Aunt was like, baby, you got to develop thick skin, because people are going to say all sorts of stuff to you, especially in this space, because it's a space where you have a lot of cowards.
It's a distraction.
And it's a distraction. And people say these things online that they, damn well they wouldn't say to your face, right? They just kind of say it on the camera and they type it and stuff like that. But if you were in the same room with these people, they would not utter those things to you. And I've been down that road. I don't know if you're familiar with the whole battle between myself and Polite, with the whole Black woman is God. And so Polite was running around telling Black women that we were capable of parthenogenesis, that we could produce sperm, that in the fluids that come out of a woman is sperm in there, and we have the ability to produce sperm, and we have the ability to impregnate ourselves and have babies without men. And so it was all kinds of stuff that he was saying, a lot of pseudoscience stuff that he was promoting. And so I had stepped up and I had talked to Ankh, of course, before I did it. I said, Ankh, I want him bad. I really want this brother bad. And he was like, okay, cool. And so he was trying to set up a debate, between him and Sinetta. They were trying to set up a debate between Polite and myself. And Polite just kept running. And so what he did was, instead of debating my information, he wanted to attack me personally, then lied on me and stuff like that. So I've been down that road that you all, like I've been there, done that. Like that's what people do when they can't defeat, the facts that you all are bringing. That's the type of stuff that they will resort to. They'll disrespect you. They'll call you names, anything but to address whatever you presented. And so I'm not, and that really shows their maturity or lack of, right? The lack thereof of their maturity. When you defeated, just say, brother, you got me. I didn't know, brother. I did not know. Thank you for enlightening me. But I'm learning that takes a certain level of humility, for you to say, daggone, I did not know. I'll pass the mic. I'll land my plane with this. I remember years ago, this sister had approached me and we were building one day, and she said, always remain teachable. And that stuck with me. That was about maybe 8 or 9 years ago. The sister said, always remain teachable. Because when no one can no longer teach you something, you don't grow anymore because you feel like you've learned everything. And there's no pinnacle of growth. There's no peak to growth. You never can know everything. Knowledge is infinite. And so you always want to remain teachable because so that you can learn new things and can continue to grow. And so let me ask you, brothers, a question. What made you form the adjustment syndicate? Like when, where, and why did you form the adjustment syndicate?
It was an accident. It was like we was just talking and joking, and we ended up, we throwing, you know, uh, our metal at the, or daggers as they call it, at the same direction. So then we ended up, coming together. Yo, you see these dudes? You see what they saying? Where they get that from? I thought it started off like this because we heard of it, but we was like, when did it get to the point where we not from Africa? When did it
Mm.
get to the point where the slave trade didn't happen? Because we were used to this. We heard of, okay, you Indian, you got some Indian and you half and half and all of that. We heard all that, the Moorish, standing on Morocco and all that stuff. We heard all of that. But then we was like, yo, this is on another level. And Suit was trying to tell me, I was finishing up with my book. And Suit was like, he was like, yo, man, it's these Indian people and all this stuff talking. I'm thinking he's talking about Moors or the Hebrew Israelites, because sometimes they say, the Native Americans are included in the Israelite tribes and all of that. And he said, no, this is some other shit. Like the
Wow.
Egypt is in America. The slave trade didn't happen at all, or it happened in reverse. What else was it? They got a different type of DNA. Their DNA is different. They created us, or they, spread out from America and then set up shop. They moved the pyramids. I was like, man, what? Like, yeah, this is a completely different story. Then I heard it. Not only did I hear it from the horse's mouth, so I'm like, okay, he wasn't even trolling, because I was thinking like he just wanted me to come to live or some shit.
Right.
They are deep. That was the other thing that got me. They were so deep, like it was rapid. And we started off with religion, and that's what we were trying to tackle, not to get people to not follow it, but just to tell them, like, hey, let's have an open discussion about, religions in a historical sense, right? And see where this goes. And that's what we would keep doing. We keep setting them up and knocking them down, setting them up, knocking them down. And then they would peep, they would peep their head in and agree with us, but then like throw a little, some extra sauce on it that we're not familiar with. Like, hey, and we all from America, right? And we just ignored it for a minute. But they would keep doing it and force the conversation. So then Sutton decided to have it. I told him to leave it alone because I thought they were just talking about, having some type of ancestry in a family. But once we allowed them into the live to speak their piece, this is a whole new religion.
Mm.
This thing is a whole new religion. It's like the Hebrew Israelites, the Moors, aliens, and pseudo history and pseudoscience all combined into one thing. Like they're trying
Mm.
to be the ultimate pseudo. So
Mm.
that's not what got me to get online to start speaking about stuff like religion. It was really when I seen that fair thing called "You believe what you believe, I believe what I believe. Let's just mind our business and let each other do what we want." That interfered with my children's life. Me not saying nothing and being part of these conversations, knowing I know a lot about religion. I would grab their tablets, they fall asleep or something like that, and it's an adult talking. Like they're in the games and the Minecraft and give your life to Jesus and all this stuff. I said, nah, that's not fair. So
Right. Yeah.
I decided
Yeah.
to portray too. So while everybody's dancing, I'm gonna go ahead and start pushing out some content talking about the history of religion. And then these people crept up. So that's how I got started with it. And I really want our people to get into science and get into history and stop being afraid of it just because the European they did what they did.
Right.
But they
Absolutely.
also have this fake history where they created everything. So we get afraid of it and we don't want to get involved in any type of biology, history, anything to do with something where the European put his face on it, right? But once you
Absolutely.
study it, you start seeing like, oh, my people are involved in genetics. My people have slave narratives. My people are some of the people who translated some of these texts so that we can read and see what the Europeans
Absolutely.
are doing. You know, and if we keep getting scared of it, that's when they will get to rewrite the history. So that's why I'm pushing for that. That's how I got involved in it.
Absolutely. And that was powerful, brother Mofax.
Me personally, I didn't even know these guys, man, at first, and my particular page on TikTok was on pro African history. I felt like it wasn't covered enough. So before all of this crazy things that we're on right now, I was just making normal posts. Hey man, did you know this about Africa, kind of thing, right? And then I get these comments in my comment section with all this negativity about Africa. We ain't African, and I'm like, what's going on? You
Mhm.
know, you shit one time. I'm sorry, I mean to cuss, but you hear that one more. You hear that one time, you're like, what's that? Like, all right,
Right.
right. And then you hear groups of people saying it, and then you have people that's wanting to debate you. I'm like, hold on, what's going on? And then I come across these brothers around the same time. Now this is all post-pandemic stuff, because before the pandemic, I don't recall folks talking like this, saying we're not African, saying we were here first, saying that Egypt was in America. It's just something happened to our people or in our consciousness during the pandemic. So I think I got up with these brothers, and we just started hanging out. Putting the information out there, and we would get pushed back, and we would ask people, "Hey, man, if you got a problem with what we said, debate us." And for weeks, for months, we did 15 presentations, I think, fellas, right? And
Beautiful.
none of them showed up, right? They were talking all of that stuff. I think here recently with the debate that I just had and the debate that my brother Mo just had, they recently started to debate on like a big level like they are. And you know, but this stuff they've been talking for a while, I think. But to go back to how we got together, it was because the post pandemic, I was hearing all this crazy stuff, and we were all on the same sheet of music. So we just got together and decided for the people that it was our responsibility. We are custodians of this history, and we should we
That's
should
right.
should take it serious, because this is affecting our kids. I mean, we're all old enough, got kids, and I can't go around hearing these young kids hear this stuff. Like I was in the store the other day, and I'm hearing the same talking points that I'm hearing these older brothers are saying that are lost, and that's scary to me. And I'm like, nah. And when we debate each other, me or Mo or whoever we debate, we're not trying to change the hearts and minds of the person that we're debating. It's always around. It's around the people that's listening.
Absolutely. I tell Ankh that all the time. It's never that person, it's the
Yeah.
people who are listening. Absolutely.
So they can take the information, and it's a balance. I feel like we weren't getting enough balanced information. Our elders are not with us as much no more. So this is our time to push that information.
Absolutely. Brother Sutton.
Well, when I first got on this app, it's the same thing. I was watching one guy's live a lot, and then when I got live access, I just was bouncing from religious live to religious live, and then I was about to get off the live and go to sleep, and then I went into Mo's live, Mo Facts live, and he was just cooking some Hebrew dude, and I was like, man, you got to let me get some of this action. So he let me up, and then ever since then we just formed like Voltron, and we was doing our religious thing, and then he took a break for a minute because he was doing his book and he was packing his stuff up, getting ready to move. And I kept trying to get him to come back to the app. He was like, I'm going to come back. I was like, I kept telling him, I said, no, it's worse than what you think. These people are saying they're not even African. He was like, I said, they think they're a different group of humans. They claim that they came from the dirt. I've never heard that. So, and then this Earth Speaks guy came out of nowhere, and he was saying some of the same crazy stuff. And I kept trying to get that man to debate me for probably a year and a half. He wouldn't debate me. So it just spiraled out of control, and we just formed after that. Like we got, what was it, like 11 members now? So we just,
Aren't even right now. And what makes us so unique? They're each individual can apply a certain type of pressure on a certain subject matter.
Yeah.
We got shout out to Vanta. He's not here. He really knows DNA. He studies that very well. There's different uniqueness about each of us. So there's no egos. It's just we all are standing on the information
it's attitudes, because they call it pseudonism.
You said they call it suitinism. Go ahead.
Yeah, when we get extra aggressive, they call it the suitinism. Yeah, but the other thing is they don't like us because we just won't entertain any type of belief or mythology, right?
Mm-hmm.
And between ourselves, like if we offline or something, we know we can handle separating what we believe, what we speculating versus what the actual facts are. And we learn that we just cannot leave that door open. So they feel like, man, y'all being assholes, y'all must be agents, y'all working for somebody, because y'all won't even consider any speculative information, any type of belief, because that's how we got here. So that's why we're trying to be extra disciplined to look, let's just stay in the realm of fact. Because
that's right.
DNA, slave trade, we can't use no beliefs. If we can't use no feel good, because this is a area.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like you said, we not, no. We not staying in the realm of belief. You want to take me, that's religion, where you just want me to believe. No. I'm not staying over there. At some point, we have to go from believing something to knowing something. I'm not just going to stay in the realm of belief. I'm not going to do that. And I want us to examine the evidence, right? The evidence, and see what happens with you all and what happens with a lot of folks. They're not willing to examine the evidence. People just want to be comfortable believing what they're believing. That's it. So if you're not saying something or showing something that supports their beliefs, then they reject it. And that's what that's what we're seeing here. We're also seeing, like you said, I think one of you brothers said it earlier, where you said people aren't reading. People aren't. Their source of information is TikTok. That's where they're going. When we were coming up, and I'm saying I think that you brothers aren't too far, ahead of me or behind me. When we were coming up, we had the library. We weren't into this internet thing. The internet didn't start getting big. I know I didn't get exposed to it. Maybe 99, early 2000. Like no one. We had flip phones, beepers. So we wanted information. We got our information from going to the library. We were reading. We were in books. Or, if you were in a city that had, maybe a conscious organization, they were bringing in lecturers. So that's when you had your Dr. Franz Cress Wilson, Dr. Tony Browder, Dr. Benning still on the scene. And so you would shout out to, I'm thinking about Brother Jabari Nator here in Baltimore from Reality Speaks. He would bring in different lecturers. So we got our information from lecturers, from books, from doing that type of research, going to the library and actually using what they call a card catalog, using the card catalog and flipping through it. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Like that's where we got our information from. But now with the invention of the internet, now that's people get their information from Google, and they don't have the skills to discern information from disinformation or information from misinformation. They don't know. So they think it's all true. I had some people try to battle me on, oh, Dr. Maat, you're wrong. The aliens built the pyramids. And I'm like, they did? Well, where's your source? Oh, go to www.alienpyramid.com and I'm sitting there. And they're serious. I got that off of, and I'm sitting there like, brother, anybody can create a web page and put some stuff on there. You got to fact check is this a credible website? You got to ask yourself those questions, but they get their information from that, or they'll tell me, Dr. Maat, you're wrong. And I'm like, okay, well, show me where I'm wrong, brother. I was watching a YouTuber and they'll send me a link to a YouTube video. And I'm not saying that there aren't people on YouTube who don't disseminate, and because you all on YouTube, I'm on YouTube, right? So I'm not saying that there aren't platforms that do not disseminate information. There absolutely are platforms, but you got to be listening to the right platforms, because there are a lot of platforms who don't. And so they'll send me Dane Calloway videos, and tell me that that's their source, right? It's Dane Calloway. And like you just said, here it is. We may talk about slave narratives. We'll bring up Frederick Douglass and some of the, I got a sister that was a part of the Buffalo Soldiers, and initially she was enslaved, and there's a book about her. So it's just a lot of information out there, firsthand accounts of people who actually went through enslavement, but people reject that because it doesn't fit the narrative that they're choosing to believe, you know? And so I commend you, brothers. Another thing that we're contending with is this. So not reading, and then the lack of critical thinking skills. The K through 12 system, and I tell people this all the time because I see it in my classroom. I have family members who teach in the K through 12, the K through 12, you might as well say curriculum or level. These kids are not learning how to think as they matriculate through school. They're not learning. They come to us, I want to be an engineer, doc. And I'm like, okay, you got to have some problem solving skills, some critical thinking skills. And they don't have them. And it's not because they can't critically think, it just hasn't been developed inside of them. And so
Correct.
you're dealing with a population of people right here in the US and across the world who lack critical thinking skills. They can't think past go. They don't know anything about understand, so we talk about the hierarchy of thinking skills, right? So remembering is the lowest level, then you understand, then you apply, then you analyze, then you evaluate, then you create those higher order thinking skills. We live in a society that lacks that. A lot of people don't have critical thinking skills, and you need critical thinking skills to even be able to examine the type of information that you brothers are bringing forth. So if somebody doesn't have any critical thinking skills, I mean, what you're bringing isn't going to be of value to them because they can't even think, they can't even analyze what you're presenting. So that's another problem. So you have the ignorance, the people who don't read, and then you have people who don't have critical thinking skills. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I agree with you 100%. You hear the rejection when we talk about DNA. That's one of the things that you can't refute that. It's an exact science when we're talking about DNA in the genetic genome, the human genome.
Absolutely.
It's been mapped out. So we use that in our argument. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to say that you're from here, you need to connect your haplogroup that's from here. And a lot of people go crazy when we talk about DNA. They say it's for entertainment purposes. That's one of the greatest hits. That's an Apple greatest hit, y'all.
Yeah, it is. That is.
Right? They don't believe in it. Or they say, we heard one time, I don't know, what was that on, fellas? Where they said that the DNA company give people diseases or something weird like
Yeah,
Oh
that.
yeah. A brother asked for help. He got on the live. Y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we
I'm
hear
bringing
you.
back. Okay, cool. So the brother got on the live, and they were up there talking about this indigenous stuff, and what they found in their family, and giving sources and reading things and remixing it. The usual, right? The brother gets up on the live, and he's like, "Hey, brothers, I need help. Like, I'm trying to." He's up there genuinely asking for help. He got a little bit of Kool-Aid, but he must have ran out somewhere because he's like, "Yo, I need some more. Help me out. Lead me to the place I need to go so I can learn my history and find out what's going on in my past with my family." And they decided to tell him, basically, to make a long story short, to go to Ancestry. Right, that was the one and only good thing they told him to do. Go to Ancestry, but don't take the DNA test, because they will take your DNA and make diseases with it, and they used the COVID vaccines to wipe out the black, us supposedly natives in our family. They got rid of those elders with the COVID shot so that they couldn't tell us our true history. That when he asked for help, that's what they told him. And he said, when you look in your family history, and this is recorded, so if anybody say he's lying and it's slander, I've showed this recording plenty of times. But he said, if you find any white people, don't be discouraged because they're actually all black.
Facts.
And your ancestry, like the whole thing, like this package is crazy. And what really got me is not that, because that wasn't surprising to me. I've seen that before, but it was that the brother was like, you can hear his voice, his tone. He just wanted help. He's like, help me, I'm lost. Yeah, the one who got on the live. He's like,
the one who got it. Okay.
Help me find, because he obviously could not find the Indian stuff, right? So you should have told him, brother, you probably not an Indian.
Right.
That would have been the truth, right?
Right, you're not Native American. Right,
and
right.
He said, do all of that, and even if you can't find any Indians in your family, you're still an ancient Mississippian.
Yep.
Even if you don't find anything.
Wow. And you know what kills me? People throw DNA out. Oh, DNA is for entertainment purposes. But if you need to get exonerated for a murder, let's use the DNA, right? Yeah. If you want to make sure that you're the daddy, let's use DNA, right? But when it comes to determining our ancestry, no, that's entertainment purposes. You know what I mean? No, rape is fine. If you want to get exonerated from rape, murder, you want to determine if you're the pappy, DNA is fine. But the moment you say, well, let's utilize our DNA to determine our ancestry, always for entertainment purposes only. People pick and choose, the utility of DNA. They pick and choose it, which is bananas to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that. And Brother Ankh and I have had conversations about even the limitations of DNA, because it has its limitations,
Right.
absolutely. But I find it quite, perplexing that people will pick and choose when DNA is good to use and when it's not good to use it. If it's ancestry, no, we're not going to use it. But Port City, earlier you said that you noticed these narratives more, right? That we're not African, we're indigenous to America. You said you noticed a lot of that post-pandemic, and I was listening to the brother Phil Scott. Shout out to Phil Scott of the African Diaspora Network. This brother was saying that during the pandemic, that's when everybody became a podcaster. Like everybody decided to, start podcasting. And so before you know it, now everybody has a mic. Everybody has the mic and got the setup in the crib. I know I do. We all got the setup in the crib, people on the mic. And he said you saw like a surge of that, you know what I mean? Of a whole bunch of folks jumping online and starting YouTube channels and because think about it, during the pandemic, we were bored. I mean, people were in the house. Yeah, people were in the house.
Look, I mean, on TikTok during the pandemic.
I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, people were like, okay, let me just jump on YouTube, but let me do this. And so I think, like you said, post-pandemic. So what I'm saying is that what you're saying, your observation is correct. During the pandemic, you had a lot of people get online, and what do? You're sharing your thoughts, you're sharing your beliefs, you're sharing your ideas. And then before you know it, people are linking up, people are connecting. Now you have these pages and these groups, and they're circulating this information. So now you just see a whole bunch of it, whereas before you didn't, because a lot of people, some people were online, some people weren't, some people had YouTube channels, some people didn't. But pandemic hit, everybody's in the house. People ran out. We ordering mics from Amazon. We ordering earphones. Everybody's online, and then we're clicking. Okay, no problem. So then we're clicking up. We're clicking up and this, like you said there's a whole lot of them too. And I was surprised. Like sometimes when I put up posts on IG and I'm like, you're African, my page gets, I'm telling you, I get thousands of people. We're not African. You believe what the white man told you, sister. Like it's a lot of them. And you may have a few brothers and sisters who come and say, no, we're African, but it's a lot of them, to the point where they're like, tribe up. And when they say tribe up, it may be like 1,000 people in the chat when they say tribe up. Like, so these people are deep with this whole, this Native American, we're Native Americans and the real Americans ideology. Like these folks are really deep online in these spaces, and they really believe this stuff.
Yeah, you got pseudo teachers. Like, don't get me wrong, you got some people on there, you can't trust nothing that they say. Then you have other people. Then this is just on TikTok. What I've seen, they'll give you a source out of a book. They'll go to the page and give you a paragraph out of that book. They're like, oh, you go to page such and such. This is where you find it. And they highlight it, right? But they don't read the entire book. They just read something in the book that they think fits their narrative. So people think they're telling the truth. So they join the bandwagon. That's what it boils down to.
And that's what I mean by the lack of critical thinking skills, right? Because you don't hear something and just jump on. Like, who does? That's somebody who's not thinking, right? To just hear something and say, oh, that's a non-thinking person. And I remember, and I'm gonna look for this quote. Oh my goodness, Dr. King said it best. I'm gonna bring it up. Hold on, I gotta bring this up. I actually recite this quote to my students at the beginning of the semester. Every class period. So hold on. Let me bring up. I'll bring up my welcome presentation. Welcome to EEGR 105. And this is the quote that I recite to my students. Here we go. Okay, he's back. Here we go. This is the site. Well, not the site, but the quote. This is a quote by Dr. King, and I said Dr. King said it best. He said, "Rarely do we find men who willingly engage in hard, solid thinking. There is almost a universal quest for easy answers and half-baked solutions." Let me read that one more time. And this man said this 60 years ago. Rarely do we find men who willingly engage in hard, solid thinking. There is almost a universal quest for easy answers and half baked solutions. Nothing pains some people more than having to think. And I tell my students, thinking is a skill. And I said, most of us feel and believe more than we think. Oh my goodness. What did Dr. Maat just say? Most of us feel and believe more than we think. You know, people say, I think, and I tell my students, stop saying you think, just say you feel or you believe, because you're not thinking at all. You're just feeling and believing at this point. And there's a difference. Thinking is a skill that has to be developed. It has to be developed. And in our K through 12 system, our students are not taught to think. Well, you know what? I will say they are. I will say they are. They're taught to think at the lowest level of thinking, and that is remembering. That's what our students, that's what children learn in the K through 12 system. They operate here at the lowest level where you're learning to recall. It says, look at this, recall facts and basic concepts, define, duplicate, list, memorize, and repeat. So when they come to me, I'm talking about freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, they're used to operating at this level. And what I tell them is that you have to climb up. You have to climb up this hierarchy of thinking. You got to be able to understand. What do we mean by understand? Explain ideas and concepts. Classify, describe, discuss, explain, identify, locate, recognize, report, select, translate. Then whatever you understand, you have to know how to apply it. I always tell them that is intelligence. Intelligence is the application of knowledge. So we got a lot of people running around here who are knowledgeable people, but they aren't intelligent people because they can't even apply the knowledge that they possess. So you got to be able to apply it. And what do we mean by apply it? We mean use the information in new situations, right? Use the information in new situations. Then we got to be able to analyze things, draw conclusion, connections amongst ideas, differentiate, organize, relate, compare, contrast, distinguish, examine, experiment, question, test. Then we got to be able to evaluate what the hell we did, which means justify and stand on a solution. And the ultimate or the apex of thinking is when you are able to produce something new. And this is what I encourage my students to do at MSU. And so we find that a lot of people just don't damn think. People feel and people believe. And you know what I tell folks too? I'm at a point, brothers, where I tell people, man, you're entitled to your feelings. I don't even go. Baba Baruti, give thanks to him and give thanks to Dr. Craig Samuels. They telling me, because I used to try to proselytize and convince. I'm at a point, man, you could believe whatever the hell if you tell me, Dr. I believe that when I jump off this 10-foot building, I'm going to fly, I'm going to say more power to you, and I'm going to walk past you. I'm at that point, right? If you tell me that you honestly believe that, even though it's foolish, if you believe it, I say you're entitled to believe that. You're entitled to your feelings. Now, when you present your feelings and beliefs as facts, that's when I have an issue. That's when I step up. Go ahead, no facts. There you go. Go ahead, brother.
And to the public.
Oh, yes.
That's the biggest part of it. If we at the bus stop, and I tell them this all the time, like, bro, if we was at the bus stop and you said this shit, I'll just get on the bus or catch the next one, right?
Absolutely.
But you're saying this in the public, and you got 100 people, 200, some people got 1,000 people in their live, in the comments, facts, and he got a picture on the background. It's a picture. There is no facts. You're just saying what you think something is and what you feel and what makes you feel better. Guys, I took this drug and it makes me feel better. You should take it too, because I can't deal with slavery. I can't deal with the history and what my people are going through today. I can't take it. And can you not take it too? And they want the pill and they pop that shit and go, and then they start getting on a live and they like, you know what? I could do this. I had to study. First of all, I was in religion. Then I had to study it more exiting out of religion, right? Because you got to make sure you got it all out, right? And that you're just dealing with facts. Because sometimes you think you done and you just got to remix. You know, you get caught up in other things that they got a little bit more truth, but you still in your fantasy, right? These people can literally go to a live and go, you know what? I'm going live next. They got the whole formula down pat. We done seen them. They just got introduced to it, just got recruited, and they like, man, I can't wait to get my followers up because I'm about to go live and start teaching the same shit after one live. That can't be real information. Who can learn anything that quick? And we're talking about history. We're talking about DNA.
Right.
We're talking about anthropology.
Complex
biology.
topics.
How in the hell can you learn that in one night and go, I'm going to go live and I'm going to start debunking thousands of experts in the field? Tens of thousands if we use the whole, system.
The whole gamut. Absolutely.
That's crazy because they're building off the backs of the other experts that came before them.
That's right.
It's not just the experts of today. They have a discipline. They have principles that they have to follow. And if you don't have that method, there is no debunking anyway. You just don't agree with them. And that's why you got to call someone an agent. You have to go, oh, this guy made it up. He's getting paid, because you can't use a method. You have to go to school, or you have to at least study under somebody or hit the books real hard for a long time.
Absolutely.
To create some type of method,
Ain't more facts. And you know what kills me? I'm glad because you that word was triggering just now when you said debunking. These cats would be sitting in their house using Google talking about they debunked a scientific theory. Yeah, and I'm sitting there, look, I debunked that. Brother, how did you do it? Brother, do you have a lab in your home? You debunk DNA. Do you have a science lab in your home? Show us your lab. Show us your lab, brother. Show us your research lab. Yeah, I do. They debunked it Googling things. But in their minds, that's what they believe. They debunked, scientific theories using Google, using, YouTube. You debunked DNA on Google. I'm like, what in the world? And that's why I'm at a point, man. Baba Baruti put up a post about arguing with fools. And I said, Baba, I'm trying, but the warrior in me want to fight. You know what I mean? Right. I said, Baba, I'm trying, and that's my elder. I said, Baba, I'm trying. But sometimes even Dr. Craig, he's online right now. Sometimes he'll see me, he'll say, don't, leave it alone, sister. And I'm trying not to, but sometimes you just want to, you got to smack somebody around online. Sometimes you just got to do it because it's so damn foolish. And like you said, these people have thousands and hundreds of thousands of people following them. And I don't want my 13-year-old son to hop online and see this stuff and think, that is true. And so that brings me to my next question to you all. Do you think that is worth it? Do you think that battling, these people, do you think it's a waste of time? Do you think it's worth it? You all said totally it's worth it. Go ahead and break it down, brothers.
It's totally.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I ain't going to cut you off soon, man. But we all feel the same way. This is totally worth it. This is for the kids, man. We are the custodians of our history. No one's going to care about our history at all. They're trying to take it out to schools already. So we take it really serious. And, we're not going nowhere. And we're, like I said, we really take this serious. Like I just was in the store the other day. I heard a young brother talk the same talking points. So that, they're getting these numbers. And a lot of it is money. A lot of them making a little bit of money off of it.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, you'd be surprised, right, on how much money and I'm not knocking no one's hustle because I respect entrepreneurship. But when you deceiving the hearts and minds of our people, that reminds me of like selling crack in the 90s.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? The disinformation, because a lot of these people know. We've seen people cut the African out of history, put it to the side, right? That's what they all do. And we take it seriously. Like, yeah, it's for the kids, for sure. I'm sorry, Sue. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, well, you might have that one person in the live that's borderline. He don't know if they're telling the truth or if this other group is telling the truth. And if you can reach that person, he didn't get a chance or she didn't get a chance to follow these people just making up history. So if you ever get a chance to come to our live, you'll see a lot of people in our comment section like, hey, I was over there with them and I was borderline. And then I met you guys and I saw that a lot of the stuff that of their talking points, you guys actually bring up and you go through all the information. Because what we say is we go through the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Ugly.
So we have to talk about it all. Because a lot of the people that we engage with on TikTok, they're stuck in their ways. They're not changing. So it's not to change them. We're trying to get to the people who's just coming on this app who's stuck in the middle. They don't know if this person's telling the truth or that person's telling the truth. Then you got kids are watching. So we try to sit there and make sure that these people are getting some good education. And, we're trying to teach them to the best of our capability so people won't try to rewrite history.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, and I would say I piggyback all that. Like it is definitely worth it as long as you get the message through. If you get the message through and you don't get like into your feelings and you ain't got no religion that you trying to push and like, oh no, it's not that tribe, it's this tribe. Like you can't be trying to say that they wrong and then you offering the same thing. Because I see that sometimes. That usually happens with the Moors. It's like the Moors do that, and I think there's somebody else who do the Afrocentrics, like the ones who say that Africa's everything. We were over here, we were on the moon, everywhere.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. Yeah.
those two
Yeah.
groups, they got hella knowledge, right? Got to give it to them. They got some knowledge, but they got enough knowledge to debunk all of the other pseudos, right? And then they give you a replacement, and you're still stuck in the same pseudo shit. So now you got a little bit more truth, but
Yeah.
you in another belief system, and you not all the way out yet. So it's definitely worth it if you make sure that you get that point across and you don't have any type of bias, right? You're just giving the information. If you don't know something, that's what we all do. That we don't know something, we pass the ball to somebody else, or we'll even say, man, um, come to the next live when one of our other people that's with us are off work, or they'll be here in 2 hours. Bring up that question again, and he'll be able to answer it. Some people can't do that. They can't take no critiques. They can't say they don't
Yes.
know. Sometimes we sit on lives and just do research together with the
Yeah.
crowd, and it's like we don't know. Let's go figure out what this is. But
Exactly.
they can't do it.
And I used to tell Unc, I've never witnessed, I've never been in a community or never been around or associated with a community where, no one is ever wrong about anything. Everyone is an expert in everything. Everyone is a mathematician, a doctor, a scientist, an astronaut. I've never seen an expert at everything. And like you said, if you don't know, and that's what I was trained, I was brought up like that. If you don't know, just say you don't know. That's beyond the scope of my research. We do it
Mhm.
all the time. If I don't know, I'm not going to sit there and pretend to know. I'm going to say that is beyond the scope of my research, and I'll point you to an expert. Let me give an example. Brother Asar Imhotep, he reached out to me. This was about 2 or 3 years ago. And he's like, Doc, could you come on my show and speak to the people about reverse engineering? And I said, I know a little bit about reverse engineering, but I have a friend who has a PhD in reverse engineering, right? And his name is Dr. Kevin Cornegay. So I said, well, I said, what I'll do is get Dr. Kevin Cornegay. I'll introduce you to him. And if you all go to YouTube and you type in Asar Imhotep and Dr. Kevin Cornegay, you'll see the live that I'm talking about. I brought him on. Now, could I have got up there and talked about and gave some people some basic information that I know about reverse engineering? Of course, but I'm not an expert in that area. And so I passed the buck. Here's the expert. Like, I'm not going to sit here and talk to you all about cybersecurity. That's not my field. I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about AI. That's not my field. But if you want to talk about electrical engineering, circuits, signal processing circuits, language recognition, pattern recognition, sort of things like that, STEM education, engineering education research, I'm your girl. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so that's what we were trained to do. It's, you pass the buck. So I appreciate you, brother, saying, hey, I didn't look at that, or I didn't look into that. Let me bring somebody on that will look into this, or with so and so come on, or like you said, let's all look it up together.
Right.
That means you all are intellectually honest. And we
That's
have a lot of intellectually dishonest people. You're
We say that
honest.
all the time. That's our thing. We got to stay to the truth of the information, the good, the bad, and ugly. That we've read some things that we didn't like in history. We're like, damn, man, we hate this.
Yeah.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? We
Wow.
read a lot of things that we didn't like to hear, but we put that information out there. We didn't hide it. We were just like, man, the people need to know. Let's get it out here early so that they can understand.
Absolutely. 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 Did everybody go around about why it was worth it? I know that Mo
Mhm.
Facts
Yeah.
spoke about it. And you said basically it's just for, you said a lot of it is the children. That's what you all said. The
Yeah, the
children
children and the people
and
stuck
the
in the
people that's
middle.
kind of, they're stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with you. If you go on a platform and you could just get that one, that says, I was kind of leaning over there, but when I got introduced to you, it's like it makes it all worth it. You know what I mean? Like it makes it completely worth it when you have, just like you said, that one in the crowd that may contact you afterwards and say, hey, look, I actually learned something, from you. And so you brothers, man, you keep on doing what you're doing. Mo Facts, you mentioned a book earlier today. What book do you have? Is it available for purchase?
Yeah, it's on my website, UTU textbook. I can
Put it
put
in
it
the
in
chat.
UTU
chat.
UTU textbook.
.com,
Mhm.
and it's unraveling the unknown developmental history of modern religion, and it's basically going into on this book, the first one is going into the origins of the text that we have, what people call the Bible or the Christian Bible. And I just basically take them into, deeper into the history of what actually happened and how, this was built over time to get to what we have today.
Oh,
That's basically what happened.
so you went through, you go through the chronology of the Bible. I'm thinking about Dr. Ben's book. You know how Dr. Ben had a book, like it's like,
Mhm.
but his is not a book. It's like a little, like a pamphlet, really, called the chronology of the Bible. So you actually walk people through that, or I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, but basically that it wasn't it's separate from history. It was built over time. I'm showing them how it was developed. So we're going all the way back to where they borrowed the stories from, where they got the different names of the characters, what they were used for at that time,
The
how those
characters.
people knew that I mean, that's what it is. It's true.
I'm with you. I'm with
They're
you. I'm with
characters,
you.
and
I'm
how
with you.
it's separate from history. Even those people back then, they separated these things from their history. And I do need to update that picture. That was the old one, the old picture I had up there. But yeah, just showing them how it was developed. I tried to stay away from just telling people not to believe it, even though I had some personal issues and stuff that I had with it. I tried to keep all of that out and just leave it to the facts, and just show them where it came from. It's not history, and the scholars, the biblical scholars who believe it, they don't say it's history. This is
Oh,
just something that they
absolutely.
believe. You know.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, even, I mean, like, Jewish scholars have come out and even said stuff like, Job, like the whole book of Job, that's a myth. And I mean, like you said, they even will tell you that this is mythical. Even in the Bible, there, characters that are actually named after real life people, but it's not them. You know what I
Right.
mean? So you even have that situation in the Bible where you might have a king that did live in this particular area, that whose name was, I'm just throwing it out there, Nebuchadnezzar. I don't know, but this isn't the real person. Like, like they'll use names of people, some names of people that did actually exist, and say, and paint this story. But then, then you find out, well, wait a minute, the person that really existed, that's not what happened. That's
Right.
not the history. So you do have a lot of that. You have a lot of flat out myths. And then, like you said, then they borrow different stories from, myths that already existed. The Persian Gulf flooding. They took stories from
Similar.
Sumerian myths. They took a lot of myths. Even stuff, they took a lot of stuff from Mesopotamia, stuff from Egypt. They took a lot of stuff, a lot of different stories. And so I'm glad that you came out with this book. And so you said you start from beginning to end on how they put it together. So I'm pretty sure you touched on the Nicene councils and all of that, or the how many ecumenical councils were
But
there?
that's going to be on the next one. I basically started with the main characters: Abraham,
Mm,
God, the Adam and Eve,
mhm.
the covenants, stuff like that. Just the fundamentals of Judaism and Christianity. But
That's good.
I'm
That's
going to be getting
beautiful.
into that next on the second one. It should be four or five parts before it gets all the way through. But yeah, and euhemerism is another issue, like what you were just
Mhm,
saying about
mhm,
it could start off with a character,
mhm,
like a
mhm,
real person from history, a historical figure,
mhm,
but
mhm.
that's also erasing history. That's why that's dangerous again, because there's a person who existed, and because you're trying to create a myth, you got rid of the real person and then created a new story. So you're
Facts.
destroying history at the same time.
Yeah, facts. So you say you're going to get into those ecumenical councils because there was a book, man, and I'm looking for it on Amazon. And you may be familiar with it. Let me go to my wish list. Yeah, it was a book on the ecumenical councils. I
The
think the book.
7 ecumenical councils.
Yeah, it's not the 7. I'm gonna show you. This book was like I should have got it a long time ago, and then it got up to like $275, and
Oh,
then
damn.
they took it off. Like then they hold on.
Who's it by? Russell Gomerkin?
I'm getting ready. No, it wasn't Russell. Did he ever drop his other book? He was supposed to drop a book like a year or two ago. Did he ever drop it?
If he do, Mo got it.
Oh, Mo got it. If he
I might.
where is it? That's the end of the list. The decrees, volume 6. Okay, so here it is. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So it was the decrees of the ecumenical council. I have 2 in here.
Mm.
Yeah, these 2.
Yeah.
Yep, volume 1 and volume 2. Yep, the decrees. So remember each of them, and you already know, in the ecumenical councils, they all gathered together and they would issue a decree at the end, and it would talk about, what they all agreed upon. And so they had the translations. Look at this. They have this particular person. Daggone, I should have grabbed it a long time ago. Oh man, I should have grabbed this.
Oh, it's the translation of the primary.
Yes.
The original decree. Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. And okay.
Got it.
All right. Get that. Yeah. It's yes, you have me do my Yep, I gotta look for it. It's the 2-volume set, The Decrees of the Ecumenical Council by Norman.
I'm sorry, Dr. Maya. I thought my religious book game was up. Mo was like, nah, dog, you need to get more books. That brother got more religious books than I've ever seen. He's on it.
He said you on it. I believe I can hear him. He was like, yeah, I gotta get that joint. So he definitely on it. So I guess I gotta oh man, I gotta get this. But it shows you how Christianity was really systematically put together. And it's crazy that that you brothers that's how I got my start, like 9 years ago in this community. And people can go. This was 9 years ago. I was battling a Hebrew Israelite. And down in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's when I actually met Ankh for the first time. Yeah, so this was I mean, it was crazy. Like I beat him so bad, man. They gave me like a standing ovation when I before I got out of there. But yeah, this is like 9 years ago, and people got mad. People started screaming. It was crazy in there. But we had a good old time. I ate Israel doctrine ass up. I ate him a lot. Here he is right here, looking crazy. Look at him. He's up there trying to defend that damn Bible. He was. And the title of the debate was, is the God of the Bible or a friend or an enemy to African people? So you already know what I was arguing.
Yeah,
and you know it, and you know what he was arguing. So he got up there screaming and yelling and and all kinds of stuff. And I got up there and did my thing, and it was funny. But I brought this up just to show you that it's funny that you all got your start. You started battling doing the same thing. It was religion. We went to the religion first, and from the religion, it was history, and from history, I just went straight into science. You know what I mean? And so it seemed like you brothers are on the same. It's the same path, right? It's like the religion, and then it's the history and the science, and that's what we do. Yeah. That's what we do.
All together.
Yes, that's what we do. So let me drop the link to your book, Mo Facts, in the chat. Family, let's make sure that we support this brother. He's pumping out good work. And obviously he's solid. I wouldn't have him on the platform and building with him like this if he wasn't. He is solid. He is solid.
All day.
Absolutely. Who's this? The Hula Gang. Who's the Hula Gang? The Hula Gang said, did the brothers have free range to speak? I don't know what he's talking about.
Are you trying to talk about the debate?
Oh, which debate?
But we have debates. I debated Earth Speaks, and my man right here debated Lord Natural. By the way, Lord Natural says he wants to debate you. I don't know where that came from.
Who's Lord Natural? I don't even know who that is.
He's a TikToker.
Exactly. Who's Lord Natural? Right.
He's
But
a TikTok. Okay.
the TikToker is up and coming. But
he's on YouTube too. This is natural. Yeah, Naturalist of Yahweh, and he'll pop up.
And like
say his name again so I'm gonna Google it when we get off. What did he say? You said
Naturalist of Yahweh or Lord
Naturalist.
Natural.
Oh Lord.
Pop up.
Oh Lord Yahweh.
Right.
Okay.
But, I debated him, I think, a year ago.
And destroyed him, didn't you?
And the first 12 minutes? 7?
Give me 5. It was 5 minutes. And the debate was titled, "Are we African or are we from Africa?" I said, brother, the first 5 minutes, I said, brother, have you ever taken a DNA test? He was like, yeah. I was like, okay, well, will you mind sharing your DNA results? And he was like, okay, cool. This brother is like 70, 80% West African family. Congo, all of that West African shit. And that killed the whole debate. I didn't want to hear nothing he had to say after that. And since then,
he shot himself.
First 5 minutes. And he's still trying to debunk DNA. In the debate, he tried to show a lizard, the lizard sample. Oh, the lizard sent this DNA in, and all of a sudden it came back with these results. And we know damn well that you can't swab. The 23andMe requires you to spit in those.
Absolutely.
You dig what I'm saying? So it was just off, and I think he's still trying to debunk DNA to this day. And then he just debated my brother Mo Fax, and Mo destroyed him. You ever see it where you have like a samurai, right? And they just slice the neck off, but the head is still attached. And the mouth, it's a week later, right? This brother's still running his mouth, and Mo has sliced this man's head off. He don't even know he's unalive right now.
Word.
Just talking.
So that's what they was. So they were saying that these brothers that you were debating, could they speak freely? And you saying, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was timed. I know it was organized, right? You spoke for 10 minutes. Yeah,
it was time. I think Mo, we had a home quarterback on our side. It was time. We had a wonderful moderator. Shout out to Hoodoo Butterfly for doing that. And I think Mo, because it's hard to engage with these guys and get them in there. So Mo was like, you know what? I'll go behind enemy lines, and he didn't care what type of setup he was going to be approached with, and it still went okay. I think Brother Natural handled it in a way that was okay. I think he gave him time a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm with you. When it's pseudos, I don't know if you all notice when they come on this platform and they want to debate, I just let them go. I'm like, no, Unc, no, because Unc want to lay him out. Unc want to get it over with. Unc patient is zero. Like Unc has zero tolerance. Unc want to lay him out, get him out of there. Unc, he start arguing with him.
Shooting.
Yeah, that's it. Unc start arguing with him. You know what I mean? And I'm like, no, Unc, like just let him. This is like just let him go. Like, because the more they talk, the more they're gonna sound fool. Just let him go. Just let him go, and then we could get into it. Just let him talk. Yeah. So you said Suit want to get it out, like done.
That's where Suitanism come from.
One shot, one kick.
Oh man, but brother, so where can we find your work? Where can we find your presentations? Where can we find your debates?
Port City African Center Consciousness, YouTube.
Port City African Center. Tell me where the name came from before we get off. Where did y'all come up with that name?
Adjustment Syndicate. That's our name, Adjustment Syndicate.
Oh, but you put all the stuff on Port City.
Yeah, it's on Port City.
Yeah, but our official name is Adjustment Syndicate. So I'm Port City. We got Suitin, we got Mo Fax, we got Rob, we got Banter. There's a lot of people that's not here right now that help contribute to those presentations and stuff as well. So it's on my channel. And we've been doing presentations for 6 months now, I think, y'all.
Before April.
Before April. April showers, that's right.
Yeah. And it started off, remember, they said they were going to come to the YouTube, right? And they wanted to set up a debate. It was supposed to be multiple people against us, right? And it never happened. So we had all of this information accumulated, and we was like, look, we about to just put this out. Let's just drop it and do presentations. They ain't got, if they show up, they show up. If they don't, let's just keep on teaching. They said ain't no ships. Our people didn't write nothing about history. DNA is fake. So we just ran through all of this stuff, and it was supposed to be a debate, and they got scared. So they thought we were just going to tuck the shit in our back pocket. We said, all right, well, you ain't got a debate. Plus, we got this shit screen recorded. You know, you download the live when you're done, and if we're in your live, we can screen record what you're saying. Hey, say that again. You know, if you block us, we go to a backup account, go in there and go, hey, you know, act like a fan and say that again. Give me the source, screen record it, and then we put your information up. So even though they didn't come to the debate, we did the presentations and then played the recordings and showed proof that they said this stuff. So it didn't look like we were just slandering people.
Yeah, we were just exactly. But I'm definitely going to check out the debate that Port City had with the Earth Speaks, and I wanted it on this platform, man. But that dude, I had to block him. I said he's disrespectful. I ended up blocking him. Like, he was on my Instagram, and I'm like, you know, cool. But I think what got to me was I had put up a post about Professor James, a post of Professor James Small talking about just being African, right? And so he came under there like, you know, I can't wait to put all this Africa bull crap, you know, and I'm like, this is an elder. You know, you're entitled to feel the way you want to feel, but you know, this is an elder. You know, please be respectful. You know, you're entitled to feel the way you feel. And that was my response to him. He got mad. Oh, sister, you're speaking to me as if I'm your subordinate. You're talking to me like I'm your subordinate. And I don't appreciate that, because on your platform, people have called me stupid. They've called me all kinds of names, and you've never defended me like that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, dude, you're not an elder. You know, you're not an elder. I'm not going to defend, dude. No, I'm not going to defend you. You're not an elder. You know what I mean? Like, this is a 76, 77. Matter of fact, piece to Professor James Small. I know he was hospitalized a week ago, so I got to make sure I check on him. I don't know if he's home yet, but I know that he was hospitalized. It was all on Twitter, and I do need to reach out to him. But it's an elder. It's an elder in his upper 70s, and you under this post coming at the elder. Like, come on. And I didn't, you know, curse at him like, motherfucker. You know, I just was like, brother, you know, you're entitled to believe whatever you want to believe, but this is an elder, so let's keep it respectful. Right. And you know, it seems like he, in my opinion, you know, he carries it as if he's beyond reproach. He's beyond
it's cocky, arrogant.
Yeah, you know, beyond correction. You know what I mean? And
all you had to tell him was, look, tell him Sutin looking for you. And he wouldn't have commented after that.
Yeah. Hey, he's one of the people that got, I mean, I think the last thing we seen was he had somebody's life insurance, their family got a payout from like life insurance, somebody passed away, and they dropped the bag on him. And he said he's going to go to the Mayan civilization, you know, down to Mexico or whatever, the Yucatan, and do some research. And he was going to a wedding, you know, so they're scamming people. That person could have used that for something else in their life.
I remember like months ago when he told me he was going, I didn't know he was going on somebody else's dime, though.
Yeah.
So they're actually scamming people.
Yeah, when he first got on TikTok, his live access, he was telling people that all the gifts he was going to save and cash out and go to these sites and start doing like archaeological digs. And I got on his live and I said, well, where are you going? I said, because you have to get permits and then you have to have somebody backing you. So you got to get a permit or a grant. You got to have a university backing your digs.
Right.
And as soon as I said that,
Tony Browder.
Yeah, and as soon as I said that, he blocked me. You don't know what you're talking about. I said, but I do know what I'm talking about. You can't just go someplace this is a historical place and just start digging because you want to dig.
Yeah,
but people believe him. He
said ate it up, bro.
Places to dig. They give him money, so
people. So don't fall and be easily swayed by the pseudo talking points that a lot of these TikTokers might have. A lot of them you're gonna find over there with these same talking points. He has a lot of follow. This boy went to the Brooklyn Museum and lied about what he saw. In the debate that I had with him, you'll see that I went to the same damn museum just to fact check his ass to show exactly what that stuff said, because you don't do research like that. Yo. He's not a subject matter expert on anything. That boy got a GED, family. If y'all ain't know.
My sister Rashonda said dirt speaks.
Yeah, that's what we call him. He says you gotta know the dirt. So
my sister Rashonda called him dirt speaks.
Hey, but look, if
Oh
y'all
my
want to see
God.
an earthquake, I suggest y'all go to Port City African Center Consciousness and watch that clip. Both
Oh,
all the
I'm watching the debate tonight. I'm just going to sit in bed and eat my little popcorn and laugh. So you actually went to the Brooklyn Museum and showed the people that that's a
that's right.
scam. Then he's a fraud. He's a fraud. He's a fraud.
Oh,
Hmm.
y'all.
Yeah, he's a fraud. Hands down fraud. All right. So do you all have any closing words for the listening audience? Any closing words for the
Hey,
listening
y'all
audience?
stay tuned. Please support the channels on TikTok, YouTube. I encourage y'all to go talk to your family about your history. If you haven't, if you got any issues with people, it's worth it to just get past it and just get these documents, learn who you are, take your DNA, encourage everybody else to take their DNA. Of course, if you guys are interested in learning about religion, even if you're still a believer, go check out my book. I was sure to keep most of my opinion out of it, and I just showed you the facts about history. But do your check what people are saying. If you're going to get involved in what you are and everything, please try to involve your family in it. Don't be on the internet doing a genealogy and in groups talking about what you are and you have a family. Like that doesn't even make any sense. It should be some red flag somewhere. If y'all end up being related, so be it. But make sure y'all really check anything that anybody's saying. Us too. If you get my book, check my sources. Make sure the shit backs up. If you're in our lives, check it. If we forget, say, hey, what's that source? You didn't provide the source. That's what this stuff is all about. If somebody's just trying to get you to believe something, it's most likely for entertainment, and they got some type of motive that they're not telling you about, and you're gonna end up in some shit. So don't waste your life away. And thanks for the support, y'all.
Oh yeah,
Peace, peace.
definitely.
We'll catch y'all on the
Peace.
next one.
Peace, Mofax. Port City, big suiting. What are your closing words for the listening
Um,
audience?
Shout out to the Adjustment Syndicate. Y'all look forward to the TikTok live later tonight. Me and Mo probably be up to probably 2, 3 o'clock tonight going in. So hey, y'all stay tuned, man. I see y'all when we get over there.
All right, peace to you, suiting. Brother Port City, what are your closing words for the listening audience?
Hey, again, shout out to the Syndicate, man. Thank you for supporting us on your channel. Um,
Always.
Definitely appreciate it. Again, follow us on TikTok. Suitin, he's Brother X on TikTok as well. You can follow me on TikTok. I'm Port City. You shouldn't be too hard to find Port City on TikTok and of course the YouTube and stuff. Thank you guys. Make sure you guys read primary sources,
Absolutely.
stuff like that. This history is not hard to look up if you take the time and research it. We should not be walking around saying we're not African if you haven't studied the historical record or the archaeological record or the genetic record.
Come on.
So
Facts.
you know what I'm saying. And like I said, I don't really have much more to say after that, other than thank you so much for having us on the show.
Thank you so
And
much for coming, man. I appreciate you coming, and you came with the crew. I was hitting you up like Port City. Look, I'm going live. Where y'all at? Where you at? Where the crew? Did you get the crew? And you was like, yeah. Since I got you, we in there. I just let the brothers know, and so you all pulled up, and I just appreciate that. And we need you. We need organizations like yours. That's pushing back. Because think about it: if we didn't have you, or we didn't have the Armor Raw Squad, or we didn't have pseudo killers, or we didn't have these groups fighting back, then like you said, who would be the keepers? The what did you call it? You didn't say the
the
gatekeepers.
of our
Custodians. That's right, of our history, right? Of our culture and our history. We are the custodians of that, and we need to walk in that. You get what I'm saying? And so shout out to you, and shout out to the crew. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. Can you hear me? Oh, you were muted.
my phone got locked up.
Your phone got locked up. All right, brother, no problem. Thank you so much for
Can you
coming
hear?
on. I'm getting ready to drop a bomb for you, brother. Oh my gosh, family. They did a marvelous job. Make sure that you subscribe to their YouTube channel. Make sure that you subscribe, and shout out to Mo Fax for his book, family. Make sure that you support the book. And thank you all for tuning in. I thank them, but I want to thank you all for tuning in, because guess what? You could have been anywhere tonight. But guess what? You spent an hour and 15 minutes with your girl, Dr. Maat. So I salute the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in, family. Before you get out of here, thumb up the video, thumb up the video, thumb it up, thumb it up. Also, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so that whenever I go live, you will be notified. Also, family, we want to each one teach one. So make sure that you share this discussion on your social media pages. So if you're on Facebook, post a link. If you're on Twitter, tweet the link. If you're on IG, if you're on TikTok, just get the link out there. Say this was a powerful discussion with Dr. Maat and the Adjustment Syndicate. You got to listen to this and let's get the word out. We want to each one teach one. And how can we do that in 2023? By simply just hitting the share button. It's that simple. Also, family, join me back here on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, join me back here this Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to have Dr. James McIntosh to come on to talk about the history of Palestine. And so we're going to be talking about the Palestine conflict. And this elder is going to come on and break it down. He's also going to break down the interview that Jonathan Greenblatt did on the Breakfast Club. And when he came on, he's like a, Israel apologist. And so he came on and he was painting this picture. Israel is they're innocent, they're the victims. And, all they're doing now is just fighting back. And those of us who know the history know that that's far from the truth. And so anyway, this elder, this scholar, this educator, Dr. James McIntosh will be joining me on this platform this Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, family. So make sure that you tune in. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I may go live on Sunday. I'm going to try to get a hold of Brother Ankh and see if he and I can go live to talk about, the religious, the role that religion is playing in this war, the Israel-Hamas war. So anyway, I may be live on Sunday. If so, it's going to be early, maybe like around 10 or 11 o'clock on Sunday, because you know how men are. They watching the football. Brother Ankh still watches football. And so he'll be probably watching the game around 1 o'clock. So you got to grab him in the morning. So I'm going to see if I can get him in the morning. But if not, family, I'll definitely be live on Tuesday, okay? So have a black-tastic weekend. Peace and black power. A BB5 ODA. Uhuru Sasa. Freedom now. A BB to me.